Thanks for the support as a channel member, Stuart Welsh. Remember how excited I was in the last episode about Pavlov and the other fella, whose name I can't even remember, and how they were both really good and scored on their debuts. Those were the days. Hello and welcome to part 66 of Bourne Again. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we are away against Sheffield Wednesday and at home against Notts County in League One. Since you were last with me, we started really well. You saw that in the last episode. We continued that form through to there, at which point I went to bed and then carried on playing the game this morning, and we forgot how to win football matches, and we've done a couple of penalty shootout victories after 0-0s, but we haven't actually won a football match since yesterday in my world. Things were going so well, but looking back at it, Pavlov and Quirrell, Pavlov did score again there, but since then, no. We're spending a lot of money on those two players. The positives are, with our good start, we are third in the league. So, can't really argue with that. We were supposed to be finishing mid-table. The media thought we had an outside chance of the playoffs. And we're in an automatic promotion race at the moment, 8 games in. Obviously, there's a long way to go for things to settle down. But at the moment, we're doing really rather well. And this is the team we're going to put out there for the Sheffield Wednesday game. We've got Hardy in goal. Oh, by the way, we sold Hattersley. That's the other piece of news as well. Des Hattersley went to York for $150,000 on just before deadline day, mainly because we had Hardy and they offered a lot of money. So I thought a lot of money would be handy. We've still got Williams to sit on our bench. So Hattersley went to York and then kept a clean sheet against us, which was, oh no, it wasn't a clean sheet. We had a 90th minute penalty. It was almost a clean sheet against us. So Hardy in goal, a back four of Barnes, Kitchen, Catamol and Ralston. Broadbent and Dean in midfield. Goldie, Goddard and Murray behind Pavlov up front. As you would expect, Christine has been the best player for us so far this season. The only one in that starting 11 who is averaging any kind of decent number. John Clark hasn't played as many games because he picked up an injury like a couple of matches ago. When did he get injured? There, he got injured there. So he's missed 3 games, came back in, wasn't great. So we're trying something different. Good old Terry Broadbent coming back in midfield today. So a lot of pressure on Dean. And Jacob Quinn is on the bench for Sheffield Wednesday, who of course scored many, many goals for us over the course of a couple of seasons when he was with us on loan back when we were down in the non-league. He's barely played for them since. I did make the mistake of having a little look at him before that. So I've also got Charlie Wiggett down there as well. So there's a couple of Bourne old boys, Quinn and Wiggett, who we'd happily have both of them back if they're not being used. They'd both be in the team today. If they were to come to us, but apparently Sheffield Wednesday is a bigger club than Bourne, who I don't see it myself. Yes, they've got a big ground and lots of fans and lots of money and history and all that kind of stuff, but we have white shirts and theirs have got bits of blue on. So who's the best team there, really? Exactly. Murray plays it into Dean. Dean to Pavlov. Pavlov finds Goddard. Dean again slots it in beautifully to Goldie, who is in there, and Goldie grabs his 4th goal of the season. He has been the bright point consistently from his goal on the first day to forcing his way back into the team. He's the reason Quirrell hasn't played as many games as you'd expect and hasn't established himself yet, because Goldie just won't stop scoring. He is a very good winger on that left-hand side. He was our top scorer last year. He's already our top scorer again this year. And it's difficult to justify the existence of Quirrell when you've got Goldie doing things like that. Corner comes in. I'm not sure who that was who just headed over. Whoever wears the number 18. And we don't get to see the squad numbers. Squad numbers should be on this screen so that I can identify better who is who. Ward Prowse. Is that James Ward Prowse still playing in, 2030? That man must be 100 years old, but I guess he can still hit a half-decent free kick because it's put us under some pressure there, and that was only narrowly offside. And I would question, again, just offsides from free kicks in general at the moment seem to be very iffy, and without really studying it because, it got disallowed, so I'm happy. But if we'd have had a goal disallowed there, I'd have had a proper look at that, and I would suggest it probably wasn't offside because they're usually not. But as the scorelines stand at the moment, this does put us back up to second place. The only team who've really outclassed us this year were Coventry, who were the team who were top of the league at the time. They had a 100% start to the season, but it looks like they've lost a couple of games. Oh, no, not Coventry, Charlton. I'm saying Coventry because down here, Coventry are beating Charlton. But Charlton at the time, I think, had won 6 from 6 when they beat us and looked unstoppable. But they seem to be becoming a little bit unglued at the moment because they've now lost 2 from their first 9. So clearly, I think we lost 3-0 to them. In losing 3-0 to them, we've shook them a little bit, and they're now going to lose to other teams, but we're going to take the credit for it. Right, we'll bring Scargill on. In fact, we're going to bring Berry on as well and put Scargill in there behind Pavlov, where he's played quite a few times for us already. Scargill, he's a very good utility attacker for us to have because he can play pretty comfortably in any of the 4 attacking positions, and he has done. He's been doing the rounds as our backup, just attacker in general. And I think we will bring Clark on as the final change. Bring him on for Pavlov. Push Scargill up there, and Clark can play in behind Scargill for the final 10 minutes. I would like a second goal so I can feel comfortable. Charlie Wiggett has come on and he's playing as defensive midfielder, a position I've never seen him play before, and he played for us for several years. Clark now with a free kick. Terry Broadbent is there, and there's his first goal in League One. Terry Broadbent he's Mr. Bourne, isn't he? I think this is his 4th season with us now. It's been a little bit of an injury hit start to the season. He started the season with a knock. He's had another knock. You can see he's got the captain's armband on today, and that is a very dominant header to put us 2-0 up in the 91st minute and back up into an automatic promotion position. We've gone to Hillsborough and absolutely battered them. And now we're playing Notts County, who are also in this early mix for the promotion spots, and if we can pick up a win against them as well, we're right back in it. Oh, see, that's tempting. It's so tempting to go and manage Posh, just like I am in the Football Manager EFL Cup thing that's going to be going on. Watch this space for news on that. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll already know about it. But there will be videos or streams or something about that soon. But I won't be managing Posh in this series because this series is about Bourne. Let's go and play Notts County. So a couple of changes for the Notts County game then. First one, kind of enforced. Querrell comes back in for Goldie after I was so positive about Goldie. But he's had a little bit of a knock to his match fitness. So we're going to put Querrell back in, give him another opportunity to perform. He's going to be with Goddard and Murray behind Pavlov up front. Dean is dropping down to the bench just to get Clark back in, because I like Clark. I know I was raving about Dean before, but Broadbent and Clark both played well in that game just gone, so I feel like they both deserve the start. And Mark Sheffield is in for Barnes at left back, Dodd in for Ralston at right back, just really to freshen things up. I think at both fullback positions we've got 2 very evenly matched fullbacks, and as this is we've played a lot of games. This is what our 3rd game. It's the 3rd of 4 games in 2 weeks. It's important to keep things fresh. We've got quality and where we've got strength in depth. Let's make the most of it. Dodd needs match fitness because he started the season injured, so it's definitely something that he needed in there. And Mark Sheffield, we know how good Mark Sheffield is, but he got in a grumpy last year when he kept missing out to Barnes. So my theory is, by sprinkling in little appearances throughout the season, I won't ever reach a point where I have to play him for like 6 games in a row just to calm him down. If it all goes wrong today, then I'll realise I tinkered too much. But I do think that we've got the best strength in depth we've had since Bourne have existed this season. I think in central midfield, you could pick any from the 3 that we've got there out of Clark, Broadbent and Dean, and I don't think any of them are particularly better than each other. In the attacking midfield, again, we've got Goddard and Palmer, who I think are pretty much similar quality. Scargill and Pavlov are pretty much similar levels of striker. Goldie and Querrell, pretty similar. Murray and Berry, pretty similar. You get the idea. The fullbacks, pretty similar. We're a little bit weak at centre-back, but we're maxed out on wage budget. There's not a lot we can do about that. Goddard has just scored an absolute beauty, though. What a finish from him. I don't even know where Pavlov is in this move, because Goddard's the furthest man forward by a mile. So Quirrell nods it on. There's Pavlov all the way back in his own half, getting involved in the build-up play, and it's a lovely pass forward from Quirrell then, and Goddard tucks it away from a very tight angle. Justification for Quirrell being in the team, because he gets a good assist, and Pavlov, although he's not scoring lots of goals, he's a striker who, he plays well. He has quality. You can see he's got quality. I wonder how much worse than League One, the Bosnian league, is for him to be scoring for fun in that league for 5 years, scoring for fun for Bosnia internationally, and coming into League One, the goals have dried up. I guess we must just be playing him in a different kind of system where he's not necessarily up there as your main goal scorer, because we're playing our wingers in a lot and the attacking midfielder behind him. He's acting more like a link-up man doing the pressing forward role almost, but feels like he should have scored a few more goals, and hopefully they'll come. Remember, with some of these foreign signings, what you often find in Football Manager is until they learn the language, you don't see the best of them. So for both Quirrell and Pavlov, they're both on intensive language courses at the moment. Fingers crossed they get through them relatively quickly, and if they do, it's usually around about Christmas, maybe just after, that they at least have a basic grasp of English, at which point we might see them just step up their level of appearances from there. Pavlov's just missed another big chance, though, and I've seen a lot of that. I mean, obviously you're not seeing all the games that are played, but I'm seeing him miss a lot of chances, and it's for £8,500 a week. It's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating, but I guess similar to last year where we didn't have an out-and-out goal scorer playing up front, we had Sadler up there for a lot of the year. Maybe to get promoted, you don't have to have a 30-goal-a-year striker. You just have to have a good team, because here we are, 10 games into the season, 21 points on the board if things end as they are, in an automatic promotion spot. So I guess we needn't worry too much about the performances of individual players as long as the team continues winning football matches. Pavlov loses out on the ball there, though, and now there's a counter-attack. Katamol intercepts and clears, looking for Quirrell. It ends up with him eventually, and Quirrell plays Pavlov in. Pavlov is through here, and at least he's testing the keeper this time. I've seen him miss completely from that kind of position quite a few times, so to see him testing the keeper is definitely a positive, but we're still going to take him off and stick Scargill on up front, and Murray. See, we don't have Berry on the bench, but I guess we do have Goldie, so Goldie can come on. Quirrell can go over to the other side, and Goldie can get back into a team that it was a little bit harsh to take him out of it. I know he needed to. I know he must have taken a little bit of a knock in the previous game and me not notice it for his match fitness to drop the way it did. But his condition didn't seem to drop, so it's a little bit of a weird one. Right, Katamol we don't have a centre back on the bench, in which case Mark Sheffield can come off for Barnes, and we can confirm that, and then we can carry on watching the end of the game. A second goal here would be comfortable. I would like a second goal. Quirrell with the corner. Scargill's there, and that's a third goal of the season for him. A second assist of the day for Quirrell, so let's not underestimate his performance today. But a 2-0 lead on 84 minutes, and we've got to be feeling pretty good for the rest of the game from here. Attendance is pretty good as well. Over 2,000 people, half of which are actually Bourne fans. I know it's fairly standard for us to be outnumbered or at least evenly matched with opposition fans. But to see 1,000 or over 1,000 Bourne fans in Abbey Lawn today is, it's a lovely thing to see. Barnes in a crossing position. Cross does come over. Can't quite find a Bourne shirt, and it's cleared, but only as far as Katamol, who's going to play it forward to Dodd again. Flicks it on. Dodd probably should have come off rather than Mark Sheffield, thinking about it, because he's the one returning from injury. But sometimes I just don't think of these things at the right times. So Dodd hopefully isn't going to hurt himself being out there running around when he doesn't necessarily need to. We've got 4 minutes of added time left. Goldie's in there with a crunching tackle and delivering an injury to the Notts County midfielder. Lovely stuff. And it's another victory for Bourne, and we are back in good form again. Clearly, I just needed to turn the camera on to turn our form back around. 10 games in, we're second in the league. Back-to-back seems unlikely, but the longer this form goes on, the more possible it starts to look. We'll do another half dozen or so games again. We'll be back somewhere around here. Maybe with the FA Cup first round as well, because FA Cup first round day is always a lot of fun. So we'll perhaps do that in either Rotherham or Walsall. And that will be, when will it be? Sunday's video, because this is Friday's video. I'm recording a day in advance and it always confuses me. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.